Factories, vast cathedrals of steel and smoke, built to birth machines, forge parts, and echo with the rhythmic heartbeat of production. In the age before the end, these industrial giants stood as symbols of human progress. In the age after the end, when zombies shuffled through the remains of civilization, a factory might just be your fortress or your tomb. So, surviving in a factory during a zombie apocalypse, good or bad? Let's crank up the gears and find out, one brutal, grease-covered reality at a time. The first thing to understand is that factories are designed for efficiency, not comfort. Every inch of them was planned for workflow, power access, and storage, not for cozy human living. But that same industrial efficiency could become a survivor's dream if you know how to use it. A standard factory layout gives you wide-open floors, reinforced concrete walls, and often only a few choke points. Zombies love narrow hallways, but they hate fences and machinery. It slows them down like toddlers in a ball pit. If you can block the entrances and set up a watch post from the catwalks, you might have the perfect defensive structure. The big metal shutters, once used for truck loading, can become fortress gates if you know how to weld or jam them shut. Still, there is a cruel irony in the industrial world. What is built to endure often echoes like a drum. Factories amplify every noise, your footsteps, your cough, the metallic clang of a dropped wrench. Zombies don't need good eyesight, but they sure have a knack for following sound. So your first problem inside the factory is stealth. You'll find yourself walking on tiptoe across oil-stained floors, praying your can of beans doesn't roll. Some survivors say silence is golden. In a factory, it's priceless. You'll be forced to move like a ghost inside a mausoleum of machines. Then there's power. Factories often have their own generators or solar backups, especially the newer ones. If you stumble upon an old automotive plant, you might find a diesel generator tucked behind an emergency panel. And if you do, congratulations. You've just found the holy grail of post-apocalyptic luxuries. Electricity. Light, heat. The hum of civilization reborn. But it's a double-edged sword. Because light attracts life and unlife. A glowing beacon in the middle of a dead city is an open invitation to every hungry ghoul in walking distance. Might keep the power on for a few hours at night, but if you're smart, you'll learn to live in the dark, using shadows as your armor. Water and food, however, are the real challenge. Unless the factory produced bottled drinks or canned goods, lucky you, if it was a food processing plant, you will find yourself surrounded by tools but starving for calories. You could scavenge vending machines or worker pantries, but they'll dry out fast. Factories weren't meant for long-term habitation, and water pipes may already be dry or contaminated. Still, the rooftop might save you. Factories have flat, wide roofs, perfect for setting up rainwater collectors. It won't taste great, but it'll keep you alive. And who knows, maybe you can even start a small rooftop garden. The first green thing that place has seen in decades. Imagine tomatoes growing over the bones of machines. There's a certain poetry in that. Let's talk about danger, and not the zombie kind. Factories are graveyards of hidden hazards. Rusted beams, chemical leaks, shattered glass, jagged steel edges, one careless move, and you've got tetanus before you even meet a zombie. The apocalypse doesn't come with hospitals. A twisted ankle on an assembly line or a cut from a broken gear could end you faster than a bite. Worse yet, some old factories still store chemicals, flammable materials, or pressurized tanks. One wrong move, and your shelter turns into a Michael Bay explosion scene. If you're lucky, you'll take out a horde. If you're not, you'll just be the loudest firework of the week. And yet, for all its dangers, the factory gives you something rare: infrastructure. You have ladders to the rafters, tunnels for maintenance, loading bays that can double as kill zones. Imagine setting up traps using conveyor belts and forklifts, mechanical guardians of your survival. You could block entrances with stacked crates, rig alarms from old machinery, even turn welding torches into makeshift flamethrowers. A creative survivor can turn a factory into an iron labyrinth of doom. Zombies might enter, but few will leave. In fact, with enough skill, a team of engineers could transform an abandoned plant into a functioning outpost, a self-sustaining base of operations. Factories also have one often overlooked advantage: vertical control. Catwalks, towers, and maintenance cranes offer perfect vantage points. You can watch the infected from above, like a silent warden, dropping projectiles, scouting movements, or planning escape routes. While others sleep in fear behind paper walls, you could sleep 30 feet above the ground, the world of the dead wandering aimlessly below. That kind of psychological edge, the high ground, is priceless when sanity becomes your last defense. But there's something eerie about living in a factory. The silence isn't peaceful, it's heavy. The machines stand like ghosts of the old world, frozen mid-task. The smell of grease and metal lingers like a memory that refuses to fade. At night, when the wind blows through the broken windows, it sounds like the machines whispering, as if the building itself remembers when it was alive. Survivors often report hearing phantom noises, the echo of conveyor belts, distant footsteps, or the whine of machinery that hasn't worked in years. Maybe it's just the brain playing tricks in isolation. Or maybe the factory remembers what it once was, and you're just an intruder in its slumber. Psychologically, a factory can both protect and break you. On one hand, it's a fortress, structured, defensible, and resourceful. On the other, it's cold and lifeless. Humans weren't made to live among machines. After weeks alone, you might start talking to the forklifts, naming them, pretending they're your coworkers. There's something oddly human about restoring purpose to a dead place, even if that purpose is simply to keep you breathing. The factory becomes your kingdom, your echo chamber of survival. And yet, the emptiness gnaws at you. Every shadow hides a shape. Every creak could be something crawling closer. It's like living inside a heart that's stopped beating, waiting for something to start it again or end it. Now, if you happen to find a factory near an industrial park or highway, you'll face another dilemma: proximity. These areas were built for access, which means more roads, more vehicles, and yes, more zombies. A factory in an urban zone is a bad idea. The noise, the visibility, the sheer number of possible entry points make it a death trap. But a factory on the outskirts, near forests or mountains, could be gold. You'd have access to materials, fewer infected, and easier routes for scavenging. The perfect balance between isolation and utility. There's also the matter of other survivors. Factories attract attention. Everyone wants the strong walls, the tools, the supplies. So you 1T just have to worry about zombies. You have to worry about people. Raiders love industrial areas because they offer both loot and cover. If you're not careful, your well-defended paradise can turn into a battlefield. In a factory, betrayal echoes louder than gunfire. One wrong alliance and you'll find your precious shelter stripped clean overnight. Yet despite all this, factories remain a fascinating choice. Not the worst, not the best, but one of the most dynamic. It's a place that demands adaptation. It rewards creativity. If you can tame the noise, secure the entrances, and master its dangers, you might outlast most survivors. It's not romantic like a cabin in the woods or cozy like a church. It's steel, sweat, and strategy. You earn every breath you take inside those walls. The real beauty of surviving in a factory lies in the irony. Humans built these places to mass-produce the future: cars, electronics, weapons. But in the apocalypse, they become monuments to the past. You'll walk through corridors lined with rusting machines, seeing humanity's ambition fossilized in metal. And yet, as you turn gears to power your own shelter, you become a reflection of the old world's spirit. Stubborn, ingenious, unbroken. Would it be easy? Absolutely not. You'd live among echoes and dust, sleep with one eye open, and pray the pipes don't burst in the cold. But it's doable. If you've got mechanical know-how, some courage, and maybe a little madness, you can thrive there. Because in a world overrun by decay, a factory is the one place that still remembers how to build. So is surviving in a factory during a zombie apocalypse good or bad? The answer, like every bolt and screw inside it, depends on how tight you can hold things together. If you can adapt to noise, danger, and loneliness, it's good, maybe even brilliant. But if you crave comfort, warmth, and human touch, it's bad, brutally bad. The factory won't love you back. It won't protect you because it cares. It will protect you because it was built to endure. And in the apocalypse, that's sometimes all you need. In the end, the factory stands tall, a symbol of human defiance in a world gone rotten. Cold, loud, and unfeeling, yet strong enough to shelter the last sparks of civilization. You might not find happiness there, but you might find something better: survival. And in the zombie apocalypse, that's the rarest product of all.